figuring out the next step in life. Well, most of life is basic tasks, and there's a smaller percentage of life that's adventure or change. Most of the day, most of your life is just meaningless tasks or things that need to get done. Sleeping, eating, working out, basic responsibilities, okay? So the percentage of life that requires different decisions than basic decisions is your next step. Changing a relationship, changing a house, changing a car, changing a location. Okay, those are basically major changes that would be your next step in life. So when it comes to relationships, which are the number one cause of stress, the number two cause of stress is money. But the number one cause of stress, relationships, when it comes to that, you have to remember that you can't change someone else. And when you're figuring out your next step, what you're trying to do is either maintain a lifestyle that you like or change something up so that you can live a better life. Okay? No perfect life. So if part of your life you're living now is hurting you more than it's inspiring you, and if it's related to a relationship, you cannot change that person. You can only change yourself. So if you've accepted that, then you're just going to have to move on with your life with limited to no contact with them. If it's your location that you want to change as part of the next step in your life, you want to move from one area to another, which many people may or may not have done during the pandemic. What you want to do when it comes to moving is you want to scout the land, visit it first. You want to figure out you're going to have an income that can support your needs for survival in that new area. And then you want to transition, into that new area responsibly. Having a job in place, having some type of an accommodations, and then just basically planting roots down eventually. You may not buy a house or plant roots initially, but eventually. When it comes to transitioning a job, you want to keep your current job. You want to apply for a new one, whether internal transfer or a new job. You want to go through the 1 to 2 interviews that's going to take, and you're going to have to follow up with the person that is the hiring agent. And then eventually when you get the start date, you give your 2 weeks notice to your old job and you transition. You know, everything in life, when it comes to your next step, is a transition. If you just hit the brakes, the emergency brake, and then you hit the accelerator, that's not the next step. That's an accident waiting to happen. So in life, what we're trying to do is transition from one state to another. Maybe because of life circumstance, maybe because just it's a adaptation that's needed at life, which always happens. Maybe it's an emergency. Maybe it's even in an emergency, you shouldn't have to make such abrupt decisions. You know, that's why you have emergency funds. That's why you have your life in order. Certainly there's exceptions. But what I would say as I reflect on the next step in life and taking the next step is that the transition is key. Because if you don't transition in order, responsibly, and with wisdom, you will have a harder future than your current situation. However, if you prolong the next step, your life will get harder, you will waste time, you will waste your life. There is balance that is needed based on your individual circumstance and you as an adult making the decisions for your life and being accountable for them. And you can't blame anyone else if you're an adult. If you can't make your own decisions, then you're not, you got to deal with what you got to deal with. Okay, so your dreams don't work if you don't work. The good news is there's plenty of work. The bad news is not too many people want to work. The good news is it's a good time to sell. The bad news is people have a hard time letting go. The good news is that there's billions of people in the world to form new relationships. The bad news is most people go through a couple breakups and still never leave a bad relationship. The good news is sometimes pain has to get worse in order for change to be birthed. How is that good news? Well, I don't know. It's just my experience in life. I had to go into the emergency room to go through physical pain in order to get my health in order. Now, I don't wish that on anyone. I don't want to go through that again, and I thank God it wasn't as serious as it could have been. But all I can tell you is, maybe you'll get a wake up in life that it's time to change. And maybe you'll change, maybe you won't. I know people that went to the hospital for cigarette use or drug use, and they kept using. They didn't stop. So there's no exact science to life. Life is science and art. You're trying to balance the two and let wisdom guide you as much as possible while letting faith overcome your fear, but putting in the work to back it up with the wisdom. So what I can tell you, in your next step in life, you're going to have to walk some of your journey alone. If you're unwilling to walk alone, you'll always be in an unhealthy place, because you're basically saying you can't do anything by yourself. And if you can't do anything by yourself, you're always going to need to depend on other people for your happiness and for your help. If you have no other choice, you have no other choice. But most people have a choice. But most people refuse to take hold of their choice. So the next step is your choice. And you can do what you want. Like I said, the hardest thing is to liquidate, consolidate, get your health in order, get your finances in order. The easiest thing to do is buy. Buy a new car, buy a new house, buy a new RV. Buying is easy. Selling, simplifying, sustaining, disciplining is hard. You can always buy. Okay. But be slow to buy, be quick to self-care, be quick to build up multiple sources of income. Work on your life, okay? More than working on your vehicle. That's the problem. People do van builds instead of life builds. People buy new cars to live in instead of getting a new house to make money with. And that's the difference. That's the mindset. Their mind is reversed. They got a reversed algorithm. The algorithm of insanity, okay, is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It's like, if you think living in your car is going to be easier by just getting a new car, you're delusional. Certainly, certain cars can make things a little better here and there, but they don't change the lifestyle, which is constant movement in the public, etc. Okay, and if you think buying a house in a different state without selling your house and running the numbers and simplifying your life and not just buy, if you think that's the answer, you're going to go from one house to another house with just a different climate. And so everything in life, guys, has to require this uprooting of your habits, instilling new habits, and finding the secret of life, which is your daily routine. The time you wake up, your exercise, your productivity, your discipline not to take a nap but to go for a walk, your discipline not to stay in unhealthy relationships but willing to be by yourself to work on yourself. And if you're taking these steps in the next step of your life, hopefully you have a better life. I mean, those are good decisions. If you're not, you are at the fantasy football of life. You're betting on someone else to score a touchdown so that you can be successful. And if you're expecting your spouse, your children, your life, your politician, your pet, your service, if you expect them to score the points of your life and for then you to be rewarded, your whole life you're going to walk around with a doggy bag, picking up other people's shit. Okay. And if that is not the parable of life, I don't know what is. They asked Jesus, why do you speak in parables? He goes, because I want to hide the secrets of heaven for those who don't seek the truth. And what I can tell you, even Jesus wanted to hide. He wanted to hide the answers for those lazy people who were unwilling to seek the truth. And it's true that ultimately love is the greatest gift. It's true that even if you have faith to reach out, even if you're not doing the right things, God still loves you and you still got a shot. But it's also true that if you've made it to this point of the video, you're not as dumb as you play up to. Because if you ever shortchange a psychopath, you see them turn into Rain Man. all of a sudden they're a mathematical genius. And that tells me that they have what it takes inside, but sometimes someone's got to shortchange them. Now, I don't shortchange anyone. But what I want to tell you is if you're not making money on your business and you can't afford gas, it's no one else's fault but the fact that you're unwilling to do something else. Okay? And if you're unwilling to do something else and unwilling to go see a social worker, no one wants to hear it because you're getting opportunity, but you're refusing to change from the past. You're going to end up buried in the storage unit that your old life was buried in. And that's the truth. I love you. I hope this video helped. If it did, click the thumbs up, share the video. You want to support the channel, click the blue join button. I go live every night. I show up every night, God willing. Check out my playlist, thousands of free videos. Let them run. Click on the ads, do everything. Let it run. Throw it up on your TV or on your phone. Leave a comment below that's positive. Let's get into this algorithm of success, not the algorithm of insanity. It's another one. Structure your day. Structure your day. It's inspirational nomad. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your service pet that you are going to score the touchdown in your own life today. But after this video, when the endorphins wear off, don't go crawling and taking a nap, because every nap that you take is the death of time. It's the death of productivity. It's the death of life. And I know that life can suck, but I also know that when you wake up from a nap, life's gonna suck even more. So you got a decision to make. Your next step.